My name is Katie Kosis, and I'm the Director of Financial Aid here at Niagara University. Today, we are going to be presenting a detailed overview of the financial services portion that you would have seen if you had attended summer orientation. Quick overview of our office. We are actually three offices in one. We are financial aid, student accounts, and the records office, all within a one-stop shop. We are located in the Butler building, which is right next door to either health services or the campus store, depending upon which one you might be familiar with. During the school year, we are open Monday through Friday. Our hours are 9 to 5. Right now, though, we are on summer hours, and that will be until the August 21st, Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 4:30, and we are closed on Fridays during the summer. So please keep that in mind when contacting our office. I do have all the contact information up on the slide right now for all three offices. If you need to contact us for anything, please either email us or give us a call. We'll be more than happy to assist you. Please note that right now our offices are actually still closed to the public, but we are, of course, taking Zoom meetings or Google Meets, or again, phone calls, anything that we can do to be able to assist you with any of your questions. Okay, so let's get into the presentation. What I'm going to go over is the financial aid perspective. I'm going to take it as if you have already completed your FAFSA form and have received a financial aid package. Now, if you haven't filed your FAFSA form for the 2021 year yet, please make sure you do so as soon as possible. You do have to be a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen in order to be able to do this. So if you're a Canadian or international student, you are not eligible to file. But we are basing this off of that you have filed your FAFSA form and you have received an award letter and a financial aid package from our office. Again, if you haven't filed the FAFSA yet, please do so as soon as possible. Okay, assuming you've received your financial aid package from our office, it would have been mailed to you in a packet, pretty big packet, can't miss it, and it would have contained the award letter, a breakdown of the cost, information about loans. So we're going to go over all of that today. Your financial aid award letter would have looked something similar to this. It would have had your student ID number on there, would have told you what year it was for, and whether we packaged you as a resident student or a commuter student. If you have your financial aid award letter and it says something other than what you really are, such as you're no longer going to be living on campus, please let our office know so that we can make those adjustments. Within your financial aid award letter, you would have had your merit scholarship on there, any state or federal grants potentially, any institutional grants such as the Monteco grant, as you can see, and then potentially work study if you were offered that, as well as the subsidized and unsubsidized loans that are in your financial aid package. Now, you do have to actually accept or reject your awards. We'll get to that in 1 second. Now, your scholarships and grants are already in accepted status for the most part. You don't really have to accept those, but we do need to know whether you're taking your work study position, if you were offered one, or taking either your subsidized or your unsubsidized loans. If you just kind of leave them out there, nothing's going to happen. So we do need you to go on to your web advisor account and actually either accept or reject those loans. In order to see those, to be able to do that, the student needs to go to their web advisor portal. You will need your Purple Pass credentials to sign into this. You're going to be using your Purple Pass credentials for everything at NU, so please start to get familiar with those. Once in web advisor, you will see the financial aid section. There's only two options to choose from. The financial aid checklist and the financial aid application. The financial aid application you don't have to worry about. That's actually for our returning students. So just be sure to click on the financial aid checklist. And once you click it, it'll bring you to your self-service portal. And in this portal, you can view your financial aid at any time, 24/7. You can see a shopping sheet. You can look at your award letter. You can see if you're missing any documents through the portal. So once you log in, it'll bring up a kind of a checklist to go through and see exactly what might still be needed to be done. You can also get to your My Awards just by on the drop-down box. Again, under My Awards, click in there, and it will bring you to the screen, which will actually detail your specific awards. The first group is your scholarships and grants, the money that you don't have to pay back, free money. Those, again, for the most part, are mainly in the accepted status. So there's really nothing you have to do for those. If you do have a New York State award, such as the TAP grant, which is on the screen now, It will say estimated until the actual money comes in about, a couple weeks into the semester. So you might have actually already completed your TAP application, your New York State application, but for our purposes, it will still continue to say estimated until the money comes in. So just kind of keep it in mind. If it's still saying, oh, you need to accept or reject your awards and you've done everything else, it's because of the state grants. Down below, after the grants and scholarships, you'll either see potentially the work study award if you were offered that. Please know that we have a very limited number of work study positions available. So even though you might have been eligible for a work study job, you might not have had it placed in your package just because we have limited numbers. You are able to go on a waiting list though, and you can contact the Career Services Office for more questions on that. And then after work study, you'll see your loans that are offered to you. You'll either see a subsidized or an unsubsidized loan. We'll get into the difference of those in a little bit. But the student does have to, again, either accept or reject those. You can choose to maybe only accept the subsidized and reject the unsubsidized. It's completely up to you, but you do need to do that before you start school in August. Another piece in the portal that you might see would be required documents. Now, the only real document in this portal that you might see that is still required if you've already done your FAFSA is the mobile financial aid account creation. So if that is still required of you, please make sure you do that as soon as possible. Again, you'd be using your Purple Pass credentials for that. The mobile financial aid account, what this does is that it actually allows for secure upload of any personal sensitive information such as tax documents, so W-2 forms, their 1040s, anything that we might be asking for because a student was selected for verification would need to be uploaded through this portal. So any student who has completed a FAFSA form does have to create their mobile financial aid account. Again, it allows for the secure upload. Niagara.verifymyfafsa.com is where you're going to go in order to create that your account. Again, there'll also be a link in your self-service portal directly to this as well. You'll be using your Purple Pass ID. And once your account is created, any required tasks for verification purposes will be shown on there. Example, so you're logged in and you might see this. This is actually what happens after you've uploaded everything, but it might say, you still need to upload your dependent verification form or complete that. Things that might be asked for, again, the verification worksheet, students or parents' federal tax transcripts, or the 1040s. You can also upload copies of your paper 1040s as long as they're signed. You don't have to request the tax transcripts right now. And also potentially W-2 forms. Those are the main things. There might be some other things out there that are asked for: asset clarification forms, selective service confirmation, something along those lines, but those are the main ones that will be requested. Please make sure to do this as soon as possible so that we can make sure all your information is verified, and potentially might have to make some changes to your financial aid package if needed. If it does ask you for a tax return, again, you do have the option of actually just uploading a signed copy of your 1040s. That is acceptable right now. The IRS is not really fully functioning as far as being able to get out those tax transcripts in the mail. You can still create an account with the IRS to actually kind of get them automatically right then and there online, but it does require setting up an account. A little bit of a hassle to go through. Sometimes not everyone wants to do that. So again, if you have your 1040s, feel free to upload that, but these are the instructions for being able to actually request the tax transcripts if necessary. And remember, you're looking for the 2018 taxes because that is what the 2020-21 FAFSA is based upon. Now, another thing, this is outside of your portal, but another thing that you might still need to do if you're a New York State resident is to apply for any New York State grant or scholarship aid. When you compiled the FAFSA and at the very end, it did ask you if you wanted to transfer your information directly from the FAFSA into your state application. If you said yes at this time, it would have taken that information, put it in there, and completed the application for you. If you didn't choose to do that, then you're probably gonna have to go back to the New York State website separately, and that website is HESC.ny.gov. Go there directly to complete the TAP application. You will need to have our school code handy for NU, that is 0560. You'll also need to provide your NU student ID number. Otherwise, it will not link up to the university. So make sure you have both of those things, our school code and your NU student ID number, to put onto your New York State application. One thing to keep in mind is that if you did transfer your information from the FAFSA into your TAP application, it actually took the first school that was listed on your FAFSA. You can list up to 10 schools on your FAFSA. So if, for example, if you put, UB or something on there and you haven't changed it, that money that you're getting from New York State is actually going to go to UB and not Niagara. So you need to make sure that you do have our school code switched out. Again, it's 0560. If you have any questions on this, we are actually able to do it from our office as well. So feel free to contact us and we'll see if that needs to be changed, and then be able to do that for you if you are unable to do it on your own. All right, I wanted to go over some award requirements to keep in mind as you go throughout your 4 years here at Niagara, as there are some limitations on how long you can receive certain aid. For the Pell Grant, that's a federal grant, there is a 12-semester limit, 600% lifetime eligibility, so pretty much 100% a year, so 6 years. So you have a little extra time on that if you have to change a major or take an extra year or so to complete. Direct loans, whether it's subsidized or unsubsidized, there's a 150% rule. What this means is that you have time and a half of whatever your program is. So since you would be in a 4-year program, you do have, again, the 6 years to use loans. But keep in mind that there's, in addition to the time limits, there's also award limits total on that. So for undergraduate dependent students, the most you can take out in direct loans is $31,000 for your, undergraduate career. So make sure, and typically that would bring you to 5 years of using loans. So be sure you're watching those loan limits as well. For New York State, the TAP grant, this is the most strict one of all the funds. There's an 8-semester limit, meaning your 4 years of undergraduate study is all you have to receive a TAP grant. If you go beyond those 8 semesters or those 4 years, you would run out of TAP money and you would not be able to use that as part of your financial aid package. There's also GPA requirements for TAP. It's a sliding scale. Typically as long as you're maintaining a 2.0, you're fine. But there's a sliding scale for that. There's a little bit of leeway for your first semester or two. And then satisfactory academic progress. This applies to all institutional aid and the federal and state. Again, you have to be meeting certain GPAs and completing a certain number of credits each semester in order to continue to be eligible for aid. Again, sliding scale, but I like to say as long as you're maintaining a 2.0 and completing either between 12 and 15 credits a semester, you're going to be just fine for SAP purposes, and you'll be able to retain all of your aid. Financial concerns I did want to bring up, emergency loans. We know things happen, whether you have to get home quickly or maybe something happened, your car broke down. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen. We do know that those things happen. So at Niagara, we do have an emergency loan program in which students can actually borrow up to $200 on an emergency basis. They have 45 days to pay that back. There's a 2% charge off the top. But again, they can take that out if the need arises. They would come to the financial aid office and the student council office in Butler Building and talk to our director of student accounts to move forward with that if the need arises. Situation changes. We say this every year. We know things happen. This year, more so with COVID going on, so many things have changed for so many families. There's been a reduction in hours, a loss of income, completely lost their job totally. Heaven forbid, someone got sick. I know there's been family members who have passed away. There's a lot of things going on that could affect your ability to be able to attend Niagara. So if these things happen, please contact our office and we will ask for additional documentation if it was due to a job loss or something. And then we will see if there's anything we can adjust the FAFSA to reflect the current situation and see if there's any additional funding that our office will be able to provide so that you're able to continue your education here at Niagara. Please feel free to reach out to our office at any time if anything like that happens. Future communications. So if you completed your FAFSA form and you received your financial aid package that was mailed out to you as a paper version, please note that is the only copy of your financial aid package that will be physically mailed to your house, your address. Everything else will be sent to the email to the student through their MyNU email. So you guys need to be checking that. Please forward it on to your parents or ask us if you have any questions on anything. But you need to be checking that email because everything we send, whether it's award letter revisions, updates to your package, deadlines for things, the bill, all of those things will be going to your MyNU email. So you need to be checking that. And renewal FAFSA. This is a yearly process. So although you might have been really excited to kind of have all that done for your first year, you do have to do it every year in order to continue to receive the financial aid. Now, if you just have your merit scholarship and you don't take loans, then there's nothing you have to do. But if you are looking for any additional financial aid above and beyond what your merit scholarship is, you have to do the FAFSA form every year. The good news is that it doesn't take as long in the following years because it does take kind of flip over some of the information you filled out in the first one and just kind of puts it into the new one. You have to update the tax information, of course, but a lot of the other basic information does stay the same. So it doesn't take quite as long. Of course, we will be sending out reminders to students starting in October when it opens up in November. So again, be on the lookout for those emails. Okay, that was kind of a general overview of the award letter process and things, some of the different funds. What I'm going to go into now is actually the direct loans. We get a lot of questions on these, and it's very important for both students and parents to know what these loans are and how they work and what your options are for paying off that remaining balance potentially. So direct loans, these are loans through the federal government. They go directly to the school. Students must be registered for at least 6 credit hours per semester in order to be eligible for not just loans, but other financial aid as well. Students are packaged with the maximum amount available per grade level each year. We'll get to those on the next slide. Eligibility for a subsidized loan is based on the federal need analysis formula. So potentially your loans might just be all unsub, or they might be sub-unsub split. Everyone is different. It just depends on our cost of attendance and your financial contribution from the FAFSA form. So the difference between these two, the subsidized loan, that means the government is paying the interest on the loan while the student is in school. So this is great. Again, they have to be enrolled for at least those 6 credits in order for this to be applied. But the government is paying the interest on that loan while the student is in school. The unsubsidized loan, on the other hand, they are not paying the interest. So the interest is accruing while the student is in school. It's typically, like $30 every quarter. I highly recommend students that you pay on this loan, on the interest, while you're in school. Otherwise, the interest just gets added to the principal of the loan, and then you're just paying interest on top of interest. So if you are able to, please try to pay the interest on the unsubsidized loan while you're in school. And repayment on these begins 6 months after graduation or after you stop attending or go below 6 credits. So you do have that 6-month grace period where you won't have to pay anything. After that, you will start having to pay on your loans. Limits in the previous slide. For freshman students, the total combination is $5,500. That could be a combination of $3,500 sub and $2,000 unsub, or all unsub, or a variety of those, but the maximum for a freshman is $5,500 overall. Sophomore goes up another $1,000 to $6,500 total for the year, and then for juniors and seniors, you're eligible for $7,500 each year. Those are for dependent students from the FAFSA form. If you are an independent student, meaning that due to either your age or some other circumstances where you don't have to report your parental information, you are actually eligible for additional loan limit. So for freshmen, that would be $10,500, juniors $11,500, and then $12,500 for juniors and seniors. Another thing, and we'll get to the plus loan in just a little bit, is that if you are a dependent student and your parent applies for the Parent Plus loan and gets denied, you actually will be eligible for an additional $4,000 as a freshman student. So you kind of go to the independent student level. If you have any questions on that, please feel free to reach out. I know it can be a little bit confusing, but just know that if your parent does get denied for that Parent Plus loan, you would automatically receive an additional unsubsidized loan that would be added into your current package. Requirements for direct loans. The first thing that I mentioned a little bit ago is you have to accept or reject, if you don't want to take them out, you have to accept your loans in WebAdvisor. If you don't do that, nothing is going to happen. Nothing will disperse. So please make sure that is the first thing that you do is accept those loans if you decide to take those out. If you are accepting the loans, there's a couple other things that you're going to have to do in order for those loans to disperse to the school and onto your account. The first thing is entrance counseling. This is kind of like a quiz. It takes about 30 minutes. You're going to read a lot of information, take a little quiz after each section, just saying that you know the rights and responsibilities of having that loan and what it means to have a loan. You have to pay it back, all those good things. You also have to do a master promissory note. This is what actually releases or allows the government to release the money to the university. You're going to have to provide some basic information and also provide 2 references. family members, friends who don't live with you, that could be contacted if you, for some reason, don't start paying on the loan after you graduate. This doesn't take as long, maybe only 15 minutes as compared to the entrance counseling, but both things do need to be done before the loans can disperse onto your account. You can complete both of these. They're both online at studentloans.gov. Again, federal loans will not be credited until these requirements are completed. And the students should be doing this, not the parents. You want to sit there and help them, great, but they are students. They are the students' loans in their names. They are responsible for paying these back, and they are the ones that need to complete those requirements. A question we get asked a lot, okay, well, what are the interest rates on these? And actually this year, starting July 1st, so just the other day, and for the 2021 year, they're very low. This, of course, has to do with what's going on with the economy right now and in COVID, but these are the lowest interest rates I have seen in a very, very long time. For both subsidized and unsubsidized, only 2.75%. And then for the Parent Plus loan, it is 5.3%. Now, these are fixed for the life of the loan, meaning that, you know, they won't go up. They will stay at that rate. So it is definitely, if you're taking out loans, it's not a bad time to be taking them out right now. This is the website you will go to complete the entrance and master promissory note, studentloans.gov, right under undergraduate students. Complete entrance counseling, complete the loan agreement, MPN. And then also, this is where parents will go to complete the or apply for the Parent Plus loan, which we'll get to in a second. But you would go under parent borrowers if that's where you were looking for. It's a Plus loan. So I've talked about it a lot. These are one of the options. We get asked all the time. Okay, so here's my financial aid package. You know, here's what it costs. How am I going to be able to make that gap up? If you watch the billing video that Marty is going to go over, our Director of Student Accounts, she will go over the payment plan options that you have, due dates and all those things. But if you maybe potentially want to do a combination of a payment plan and a loan, I'm going to go over the loan options. So there's two main ones we have. We have the Parent Plus loan and we have the private student loans. So we're going to tackle the Plus loans first. These are federal loans. They are in the parent's name. It can either be a parent or step parent. It has to be for an undergraduate student who is a dependent student. The borrowers must be U.S. citizens or eligible non-citizens. Same thing as the student. And the credit checks are actually good for 180 days. So the portal just opened up last month for this, so you can do this right now. There are some things that would prevent you from being approved for this. Now, the main thing that they look at is really just credit score. If you have a good credit score, you're probably going to get approved for this, unless of course you have one of the following. The main ones: account that's been written off, so an account that's still 90 days or more past due, if your wages were garnished within the past 5 years, repossession, if you, the parent, are currently have any, maybe your loans are currently in default, those things would prevent you from getting approved from this. There's also some more things. I'm not going to read all of them, but pretty much if you had like a bankruptcy in the past 5 years, any one of those things within the past 5 years potentially would prevent you from being able to be approved for this. So just keep it in mind. But the main thing it goes off of is your credit score. I did mention the interest rate before, it's 5.3%. The borrowing limits on this is really up to your cost, the student's cost of attendance. So we cannot go, by federal regulations, we cannot go above and beyond that amount. Let's say you took out a loan for $20,000 and the cost of attendance gap was only 15. We can only do that 15,000, even though you were approved for 20. So that might be why, when you see what your package is and it's not as high as you thought, it's probably because we were at that limit and we can only put so much on. Please keep in mind, there are also fees, origination fees that the government takes out when this loan disperses. So for this upcoming year, it's going to be 4.228%. So if you're taking out exactly $10,000 because you owe $10,000 for your bill, you're going to have to add that 4% in. So you got to take that much out, 4% more out on that loan. Please keep that in mind. That's probably the most often question we get of, okay, why, I thought I took this out to cover my bill, why isn't it covering it? It's because of that origination fee that is taken out. Please note that the students' loans, the subsidized and unsubsidized, also have an origination fee, but it's very small. It's only 1.05% for this upcoming year. It's very small as compared to what the Direct Plus loan is. Funds are sent directly to the school. We will disperse it in fall and in spring if you took it out for the entire year. They also have the 6-month grace period on there as well. You can pay at any time. There's no penalty for doing that. Typically, you do have a 10-year repayment period on that, and that's the same as for the student's loans as well. But you can potentially expand that or extend that repayment time if you do consolidate the loans at some point. Some other features I wanted to just highlight: there's no employment required for this loan. It's not dependent upon assets or income. It's really just your credit check, the credit score, and then again, if you have any of those negative things that we talked about in the earlier slides. One of the nicer things that's for the Parent Plus loan is that the loan can be forgiven in full in the event of a permanent disability of the parent or death of the borrower or student. Heaven forbid that happens, but it is built in there in case something like that does happen. Okay? You have to, first the student has to have a FAFSA on file before you can apply for Plus loan. So hopefully everyone has that done. Again, you would go to studentloans.gov to begin the application process. Now, the parent will have to log in with their FSA ID. Hopefully, you've already created one to sign off on your student's FAFSA. If not, you will have to create one in order to sign off. You're going to apply for the Parent Plus loan. It's a very quick process. You actually find out within 5 minutes or so if you've been approved or denied. The school is then notified the next day. Keep in mind that if you are denied for it, the student will automatically get the additional $4,000 unsubsidized loan in their name. So it is something to think about. We would automatically process that for you and the student. And we also recommend applying for the whole year rather than just one semester. And this is because, if you apply for just one semester at a time, that's another hit on your credit. It's a soft hit, but it's still a hit regardless. So please apply for the whole year. So when you get your bill to determine how much you might want to take out, be sure to double that for the entire year when you're applying. Increase or decrease the Plus loans at any time. So if that's something that you need to do, we would need something in writing from the parent. The student cannot request it, only the parent can, and only the parent who applied for it. So, if mom applied, dad can't increase it, step parent can't increase it. So just be sure to be aware of that. All right, so that's the Parent Plus loan option. Again, in the parent's name, there's really no way of having that transferred over to the student at any time. It will be in the parent's name. The other loan option that is very popular with our students and their parents is a private student alternative loan, is what we call them. These are loans, student loans, in the student's name, but they will need a cosigner for it. They're through private lenders or credit unions that you might belong to, and they will require employment history and those things, unlike the Parent Plus loan. So the student, it's in the student's name, but they will need a cosigner. We do have a preferred lender list. You can see on the screen here, there's 5 that we do have on that list. You by no means have to go with one of these lenders. Again, if you have a credit union that you belong to that has a good interest rate, or another bank that has a good interest rate, please feel free to go with that. You can actually shop around, at least with the ones that are on our preferred lender list, to compare. elmselect.com is where you're going to go for that. You can, I think, compare up to 3 at a time. There are some fixed rate options, some variable options. There's a lot of different things, so be sure to take your time and to kind of view all those. The Parent Plus loan interest rate right now is 5.3%. It's fixed at that. You might find a better deal, a better interest rate at one of the private lenders, so kind of shop around a little bit before you do apply. And one of the nice things about the private loans is that most of the banks do offer a cosigner release option. So after so many on-time payments after graduation, the cosigner can be released from that loan, and then the loan is solely in the student's name. So that's a good option for some, parents and families who want to be able to have that loan at some point fully in the student's name. Example of how you'll be able to compare a couple of the different companies that you might be looking at. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to email our main office at FAO, F as in Frank, AO at niagara.edu. You can also call us. I'm sorry I didn't put that up on the slide, but 716-286-8686. You will get in touch with most likely Lisa Rivera, who will be able to direct you to whoever, either help you with your question or kind of direct you to where you need to go. One thing that we will also be doing throughout the summer, my office will be contacting all the freshman students and their families directly to go over a checklist of things that need to be done before the student comes to school for their financial aid purposes. So we're going to be reaching out. Please have your son or daughter be on the lookout for that email or phone call as we go along. We know that there's a lot to go over, and we want to make sure all of our students are prepared. So that is something that we'll be doing throughout the course of the summer before they come here in late August.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about is about FERPA regulations. You may have heard about this from other presentations, but students must fill out the FERPA form in order to give us permission to speak to any parents or anybody about the bill. Only the student can give us permission to give out information. So if I were you, I would make certain that that is done before a student arrives at school. From now on, all communication will be sent to the student's MyNU email account. So that if they use a different email, it's very important for them to make certain that they have it linked to the email that they actually use. We do send them information throughout the semesters that is important for them to know. So it's important that they don't ignore that. Basic charges this year are tuition, which is block tuition, that's anything between 12 and 18 credit hours. And this year it's $16,850. Unless you're on the level tuition plan, which I will talk more about in a few minutes. And that's an additional $250 per semester, or $17,100. Student services fee this year is $770 per semester. That's for all full-time undergraduate students. There is a one-time full-time registration fee of $200. Again, it's only charged that first semester that they're full-time. A double room rate is $2,700 for the semester, and room and board, or rather board and meal plans, is $3,225 per semester. There is a one-time damage deposit of $100 that will be refunded to you once a student leaves housing. There are some different miscellaneous charges. One of them would be an overload charge, and that's $1,125 per credit hour if a student is registered for more than 18 credit hours. There's first day books. This year, students will have a $200 charge put on their account, and that covers all of their books for the semester. There's also lab fees. Certain different programs have lab fees. That would be biology, chemistry, physics, and those are $200 per course. We never know until a student actually registers whether those are going to be one of the courses that has that or not. If you're in a 4-year nursing program, there is a fee of $145 for nursing skills fees. Some education courses also are charged for a certification exam. If a student registers for a specific course that also has a certification exam attached to it, we will charge them for that exam and then hold those funds for when they're ready to take that exam. They get a voucher from education, and that covers their test fees. What we were finding is that students were not getting certified because they couldn't afford the exam fees after school was out. So it's important that they get certified and are able to teach. Nursing and business majors also have a $510 program fee attached each semester. Single room charges, not for the fall, only for future semesters, would be $425 if a student is in a single room. This year, single rooms are more the norm, and double rooms only upon request. Parking decals for residents are $90 per year, and commuters are $80 per year. There could be some parking fines, library fines, health service charges, residence hall restoration fees, and judicial fines. Those are not charged by student accounts. They're put on the student's account by the department. So you would have to contact that department in order to get those either waived or removed. For room and board information, as I said before, 2,700 for room and 300 to or 3,225 for the meal plan. There's two different meal plans. One is carte blanche and one is the purple meal plan. Carte blanche means that a student could go into the dining hall several times and get served each time. I do understand that there are going to be different times that students will be able to go into the dining hall because of social distancing. So there may be some things that they would have to work out for that. Then there's a purple meal plan, and that involves 12 entrances per week to the dining commons and $250 declining balance in Gallagher Gold. For the carte blanche, they have $100 in Gallagher Gold. Students will automatically be put on the carte blanche unlimited plan, and then they have the first 2 weeks of the semester to change their meal plan. The level tuition plan, I've put into my presentation some of the questions and answers that we normally get, but the level tuition plan this year is going to be $250 more, which would be $17,350 per semester. You will be able to see that. The students would go online and sign out for that. We guarantee that you will not lose money. So if tuition doesn't go up as much as we have projected, then we will adjust the level tuition plan to make sure that you are actually saving money. So you can see the questions and answers because they will help you figure out what's best for you and your family. Sometimes it works out best to do that, and sometimes it doesn't. So that's totally up to you. If you have questions about that, please don't hesitate to give our office a call or email so that we can figure out to help explain it to you to find out what's best for the family. Now you'll see the first bill. The first column is a date. The second column is the code, or the term rather. The third column is the code that we use to describe the charges. So, and just so you're aware, charges are always put up on the first day of the semester, no matter when they're incurred. So you'll see a bill maybe later on in the semester where all of a sudden you had everything paid and now there's a $25 fee and you don't know where that came from because it's the first day of the semester, which is August 24th. And what happened was the student got a parking decal or a library fine, and that is put on the account. But it is from very recent if you've already paid it. So the first column after the description of the charges or credits would be the charge column. And that's anything that we're charging the student for, and it explains what it's about. Then the next column are payments or credits. That would be financial aid or your deposits or any payments that you make after that. And the last column is the balance. And then towards the bottom, you'll see pending financial aid. If you have any pending financial aid, it would be listed there. We understand that some things can't be dispersed immediately. Loans are required to wait until later on in the semester. TAP is required to wait until after add and drop is over. So you would look at that. We do subtract it from the balance because we know that it will be coming in when it's time. Also, one thing you will not see on the bill would be any outside private scholarships that we haven't received yet, because there's so many different ways that you would get an outside private scholarship. Some require that you send in proof of enrollment. Some want the first bill. It all depends on the particular scholarship. So make sure that you read those letters from the scholarship committee and make sure that you follow all of the requirements to get that money sent in. The checks may come to you. they may come directly to the school. If we've received them, you will see an SCH, outside private scholarship, notation and the credit column showing that we have received that. The other thing is if the student has been offered a work-study position. It is a federal requirement that we have a signed work-study deferment form with an original signature from the student in order to put up a deferment. So we would put up an allowance for work study in order to be able to give them time to acclimate. We just want to make sure that they're not too loaded down until they get used to the hours and all of doing things on their own. They've always had you to help prompt them, and now it's kind of up to them to do things on their own. So some have a better time with that than others. Also, we wanted to talk about our Canadian student policy, and that is we guarantee you will not lose more than 20% or not pay more than 20% exchange. So we figure out what the bottom line is that you would be paying and add 20% to that so you can pay in Canadian funds. We do offer two different payment plan options. One is a 4-payment plan and one is a 5-payment plan. It depends on which one works best for you and your family. The 5-payment plan begins in August and ends in December. The 4-payment plan begins in September and ends in December as well. So it depends on which one works best for you. You will be going through our new payment portal called TouchNet to sign up and arrange your payment plan, whichever works best for you. It does cost $25, and that payment is due when you sign up. You also must sign up for the payment plan each semester. So that's important to remember. So the next slide shows a payment plan bill. And you'll see at the bottom, I have payment plan A, payment plan B, the very same bill as the first one. But this time I've divided it either into 4 payments or 5, so that you can see that the fewer payments, the higher the payments would be. But it all depends on which one works best for you. Then there's the October bill. The October bill shows that the loans have gone up and become credits, and what's left at the bottom is the TAP that's still pending. If you get a bill in October with pending aid, something is wrong and something needs to be done. It could be that when you filled out your TAP application, New York State takes the very first school code and sends the TAP to that school. So if you did have another school listed on your FAFSA first, then that's where the TAP went. So you probably need to do something, go out to TAP and change the school code. The next slide has our website on it. We are doing some extensive renovation of our website for the upcoming TouchNet implementation that will happen on the 14th of July. So things may look a little bit different, not much, but a little bit different. Behind the scenes, there will be a lot of changes, but this gives you an idea of where things are located. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, please email us or give us a call. We do have 3 different convenient campus ID card accounts. They're hooked right into the student's ID card. They would act just like an ATM card. There's the bookstore. Now, since we are charging books to the students' accounts, there may not be a whole lot that they would need to buy at the bookstore that they would put a lot of money in there. But they might need a special calculator. They might need something else for one of their classes that they would need to spend money in the bookstore. So now there is no commingling between these 3 accounts. So once it's on that account, it doesn't come off until a student has left NU or is no longer current. So the bookstore funds is one. Gallagher Gold funds, where a student would save the tax on their food, is another option. Now, that would go through a whole year or until the spring semester is over. And then that money, if there's any left, is gone because of New York State tax laws. So it's one of those things where you use it or lose it. And then there's campus funds. Campus funds can be used any place on campus. They would be able to buy things in campus store, use it at Gallagher Center. They can use it at some off-campus locations. They can use it in the bookstore. They can use it anywhere. And that also rolls over from semester to semester. And there's penalties. We really try very hard to help everybody. If you're having a problem and you can't make a payment on time, or you need a couple extra days or weeks, call and let us know. I can't do anything to help you unless I know about it. So give us a call, find out, let us know what the issue is so that we can help you out. There is a 2% late fee on anyone who is late making payments. They don't start until September. So even if you don't make a payment in August, that's not going to be the end of the world. If you are on a payment plan, you will have to make up that payment, however. So then also, if you don't have your payments made, then there would be a hold on your registration, and you can't register until that's straightened out. Hold emails go out in latter part of September or latter part of February. We want to give students the most time possible to correct any problems that may arise, or if there's any issue that they need to take care of. Maybe verification, maybe you've been selected for a process called verification from financial aid, and that needs to be fixed. So once you get that information turned in, then they can close verification, the money goes on your account, and the hold would be removed. Transcripts and all official documents would be held until the accounts are paid in full. So please keep that in mind. It's really important to make sure that the student can move on and go on with the rest of their career. So it's really important that you let us know if there's any problems. There may be something that we can offer in the terms of options earlier in the semester than later. If you're calling me after the semester's over, there really aren't any options other than making payments to get the bill paid off. So again, earlier is better than later. So let me know if you have any questions or concerns. We're here to help. Thank you.